All right, here we go.
Air it up. Air it up. He's got a good thing going on.
That is
That is
Oh, wow.
how guys that voted for Kamala Harris air up their tires. First of all, they don't drive motorcycles like that.
that's true. Yes.
Yeah, those are not electric.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, tonight on your favorite podcast. It's my favorite
I worry about
podcast.
our education system. I really do.
I love
Oh gosh.
the stuff we find. We've got a great show coming up tonight. I'm really excited about it. You know why?
Why is that?
Because I finally know who assassinated JFK.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And did you guys know this? That it's Lee Harvey Oswald.
Right.
Did you know that?
Absolutely.
Unbelievable. My lid was flipped when I found out that he did it. So, yeah. What do we got? 65,000 pages and no knowledge.
Supposed to be 80,000 pages. There's a lot of people arguing about whether or not the 65,000 were released. Glenn Beck's researchers said 85,000, but I don't know if that's confirmed.
It's weird. There's
I
a
don't
big
know.
discrepancy.
There's like thousands of pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's too many.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many? You got your Bible there. How many pages are in your Bible? That's not 80,000.
No.
So let me ask you a question. If the entire foundation of the truth of the world can be held in cover to cover, 1,300 pages, let's say, what in the world do they have 80,000 pages of? Like, what do they, what?
Oh,
Like,
there's document dumps they do that I forgot one that I heard it was like not with JFK, but just some obscure thing. 180,000 pages, and I'm like,
Yeah.
now,
what is
They
what is
lumped
in
other
that?
stuff in with it.
Did
In
they?
fact, I could pull up a couple if you want to go.
I
Straight
want
into
to
it.
do it. Let's, buddy, I'm telling you right
We're
now.
gonna be
'cause-
here till midnight. Y'all are gonna see all the pages. Here we go.
Yeah, that's it.
And he's read them all. 80,000. There's actually
No.
only 68,000 pages because I've read them all.
I have not read them all. In fact, a lot of these people are saying that they're using AI to sift through all of it, and it's
Yeah.
still taken quite a while to
Yeah.
get through everything. But this is one that's pretty interesting. This is talking about something that alludes to chemtrails, and this is in the
Okay.
JFK files. And so it says the group then turned to discussion of number 32, agricultural sabotage. General Carter emphasized the extreme sensitivity of any such operation and its disastrous results that would flow from something going wrong, particularly if they were obvious attribution to the U.S. and blah, 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 blah. Down at the bottom, it says, by the introduction of biological agents would appear to be of natural origin. Mr. Bundy said that he had no worries about any such sabotage, which could clearly be made to appear as a result of local Cuban disaffection or blah, blah, blah. And the whole thing is talking about, hey, environmental sabotage was
Has
part
been
of the
going on
JFK
since the
files,
60s.
and it's been going on since the 60s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
So there's Easter eggs in it,
yeah.
I guess would be the way to put it.
Was the Biden thing in it where Kennedy called him a traitor?
Kennedy Jr. called him a traitor.
Yeah, was
Oh,
that
absolutely.
part of that dump?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's my understanding that it was.
Now, so here,
Starts out a letter.
yes. So here, here we go. Redacted. Evidence received September 8th, 1994. Redacted. I'm kidding. There's a lot in here that is redacted, though. But ironic. It's just so crazy that Senator Joseph Biden is being accused of treason.
Yeah.
Here's the
Can
question.
anybody tell me why? Because I'm curious why he was.
I mean, he was a pretty upstanding citizen, I thought.
He was, but what exactly was this accusation about?
So this is from the 90s. So this is actually 94. It's not technically part of the JFK files, is my understanding, but
Right.
it's something that has
But
recently.
it was released
Yeah.
somehow with it.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
I've never seen this before, and I watch this stuff all the time. So it could have existed before, and it's just outside my.
Yeah, but from what I understand, it was something to do with buying influence kind of deal with the
Yes.
family. That's weird.
Yeah, he would.
He wouldn't do that.
He would not do that.
Well,
Nobody in his family would do that.
What's wild is after this is when JFK Jr.'s plane crashed.
yep.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, he said he wouldn't. He said he didn't have any influence meddling with his family. So I mean,
I believe him.
yeah.
I mean,
supposed to take somebody at their word.
and then his plane crashed. But Clinton wasn't involved in that at all. So it's weird that he would
Even
die.
though she won the seat that Junior was running against her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a big
right?
deal,
Yeah,
though. I
think
mean,
that's right.
that happens all the time. Look at Nancy Kerrigan.
Yeah,
You remember the figure skater?
totally
Right.
normal.
Yeah, that stuff happens. Whoopsie.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, whoopsie. Your plane went down, and now I've got your job.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Funny how that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, you should have had your own Secret Service because I've got mine.
I will tell you one of the biggest things in here that let's just call them the anti-Semites are really jumping on.
Oh,
is
yeah.
the request to redact Israeli intelligence service or Israel from any of the documentation, and it's in there, and it's in there a lot. But there's a lot of other stuff in there too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what they're doing. They're saying,
Yeah, so
look,
they're all over that
they
one
just
thing.
wanted them to redact Israel and not anybody else, but they also wanted them to redact parts of Russia, Cuba.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of other entities, but
And I do find it
they
fascinating
hone in on that one thing. And it's like,
that Russia wanted nothing to do with Oswald at all. Like when he went over there to get his girlfriend or whatever, bride, were they doing that back then? They were doing it all the way back then?
what's that?
You get a mail order bride?
brides?
Yeah.
I guess.
I don't know.
Except he had to go pick
He
him
had
out.
to go pick them up. They
Window
didn't have
shopping.
there was no delivery service.
Yeah, it wasn't like true mail order. You got to go and look.
I mean, shipping would be outrageous. let's
yes,
just be
I mean,
honest.
first of all, because she's going to drink on the plane, and that's going to cost a fortune.
Not back then. I bet you could get a
Probably.
I bet you could get a shot for a nickel.
I mean, you'd
could
have
probably
to,
get a
you'd have
shot.
to do the UPS ground saver option.
Yes,
on
there
that
you go.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you get on the plane, order 2 shots for 28 cents and a pack of Camels for $1, like, and do all that on the plane. Man, times were different.
Were they still smoking on planes when I was a kid? I can't remember. I know you could in the airport. We'd walk into the
Yes,
airport
I-
down
they-
here in Bristol at Tri-Cities, and it was just
It's wild to me that was used to be a thing to smoke on an airplane.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes. I remember when I was a kid, it was a thing, but the only plane I ever went up in was a crop duster, so that was fine. You know, because you're breathing stuff in that's not.
Straight fumes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I never
it's
went up in a crop duster. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that.
It wouldn't.
I would never spray chemicals anywhere. So
But correct me if I'm wrong. But wasn't there a page in there where Russia gave us a heads up, gave the U.S. a heads up about this assassination attempt?
yes.
But when the U.S. does it, it's like, hey, thanks for telling us what we already know is going to happen.
Well, that's
is what you know.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So this is what he's referring to.
Okay.
So this is Sir. I'm not going to pronounce
Sergei Nooch.
Sornonas. I don't even know how to
It's a
pronounce it.
Sergei.
Either way, Yeah.
It's a Sergei.
This is a copy sent, I guess, to the British ambassador. And it says, at 9 a.m. on August 19th, 1963, in Washington, D.C., I went to see Mr. Kippingen, Director of Special Counsel Service, Department of State at 1901 Pennsylvania Avenue. I told the director that I have information about President Kennedy. The director said, do not mention name of President Kennedy. Only respond to the question. The director said, gosh, I'm sorry, I got to read this from a little ways away here. I said, Mr. Lee H. Oswald will be killed after kill Kennedy. So I guess there's a speech issue here. And a lot of times, by the way, this stuff will be transcribed if it's in a sworn statement, verbatim. So you can't have that sort of thing in there. It's to make it, but anyway.
Okay.
I said, I will take the truth drug to tell the truth. Director, tell us who else get killed in this country. I said, as I heard, that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. will be killed. Who will kill Dr. King Jr.? I can't say that word on the internet. Leader. I said, a man who is in prison at this time. Mr. James Earl Ray was in prison at that time. Director asked where assassination will happen. I said, in Dallas, Texas. Director said, if someone gave this information here, I would expel the man. Director did call on FBI agents after FBI use anesthetist gas, whatever.
Anesthesia gas. Yeah.
So anyway, this guy apparently made a statement saying, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, ahead of time.
And I mean, obviously, that's not saying Mr. Oswald did it, but that round of events there
Is
is
exactly
exactly
what
what happened.
Yeah.
It's a retyped letter from a handwritten letter. So that could technically, if he was Russian, that was a retyped letter from a handwritten letter. That could actually just be a grocery list that they interpreted as, you know, because it's from Russian to English. The words don't exactly jive up.
Yeah.
And he's like, I wanted Cocoa Puffs, and it ended up being Lee Harvey Oswald. Weird things like that happen all the time, especially when you're biblically speaking, right? I mean, it's all, that's a mistranslation. God never said that. It's
And the Bible contradicts itself
all the time, right? So this could be one of those instances where he literally was just getting out a shopping list and it turns into a prophetic warning.
Yeah.
It happens.
Well, but
I know.
he's saying that he told them this in advance.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not that he received it, but it's if they did receive it and that's a dot that can be connected that the FBI did receive that information and didn't report it, that's something that people can actually.
But isn't this like a classic case of one hand not knowing what the other one's doing in the government, right? Because the CIA clearly doesn't have anything to do with the FBI.
Right.
They don't partner with them. I mean, they do when they want to, but
Yeah.
they aren't they? Don't they operate outside and around the government all the time?
They do, but this is the problem. The deep state, which has been around since the 60s, the 50s and 60s, they have people that, FBI, CIA, NSA, all these agencies, which we've got now, those ties and those connections, they exist. And I guarantee you that there's a lot of under the table information being passed between agencies.
Yes.
So, yeah, technically they're two different entities, but there's going to be inter-organizational operability
And communication. I mean,
Right.
we know that they have chat rooms.
Right, because if there's an investigation that the FBI is doing that the information would be gathered from the CIA, they're going to check with the CIA through official channels to try to get that information because you're going to find foreign ties in a domestic investigation.
Correct. But then you find, because you're going through the official channel, right? Redacted, need to know basis. So they only get to know on August 15th, 1963 in Sofia. That's it. Like the rest of it's blacked out. I mean, I guess that's kind of the thing. There's a lot of, first of all, there's a lot of, foul ball calls right now with this whole thing, because we were hoping to learn something and nobody's learned anything.
Yeah.
But like you said, if you pick through it, the tidbits, the little things like, well, that's odd.
There's nothing that directly says in there, so and so did it. However, like you just said, if you pick through it using deductive reasoning,
which let's be honest, is a skill, especially in our government.
yes, so you can kind of put two and two together.
Right.
And that's the stuff they're going to be, that the government loyalists, I guess you would say, not the national loyalists, because that's what we are. We love our country.
We love our country.
Right? But the people that are beholden to the government and whatever the government says, that's what they're going to use as, that's just conspiracy theory. That's just silly. When people draw really sharp lines to the, towards the conspiracy theories that people have had, and it looks like they are proven, they're going to say, but that's not confirmed.
That's not confirmed. We can't confirm that.
Right. And the data that has been lost over time, there's a massive amount of it. And that's what a lot of folks said leading up to this. Don't expect, even I think Kash Patel mentioned something like this, that we pretty much know what we know.
Yeah. The questions when he was on with Glenn Beck, the questions that you are asking aren't what is found. The answers aren't what's found in what would come out.
Right.
Because he said, I've read everything.
Yeah, he said you basically already know.
Yes.
You know the bulk of the details.
What's interesting is he said now the 9/11 file, they need to come out now. That's what he said. I was like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's an Instagram channel that I follow, and that Instagram channel is, they post stuff. It's WTC 9/11, I think. And the video, they've been combing through all the video, going frame by frame on a lot of that stuff. Mm-hmm. There was some shady business going on during 9/11. Let me just say, there was shady business going on.
Yeah, I think we all know that.
Yeah.
There were two stories, and I've been trying to, if you've seen me like this, I've been trying to find them. I can't find the one I wanted to tell, but let me read this real quick. So, and I didn't know this. Lee Bowers Jr., while watching the presidential motorcade in Dallas, reported seeing two gunmen behind a fence who fled after the president's fatal shooting. Despite his testimony to the Warren Commission, which investigated JFK's death, Bowers' account was disregarded. He persisted in recounting his story to the press until, in 1966, he was involved in an inexplicable car accident that resulted in his instantaneous death. There was another story, which I swear I thought I copied on here, but I didn't. It was, it talked about a gentleman who ran to see, after it happened, ran to see a friend of his, and he said, "They know that I know what happened." And he was somebody within the government, or within the CIA. I can't remember what his name was. Can't find it. But like a week later, he was just found dead, and they ruled it a suicide. So there's so many of these things that you just can't look at it and say, it's way past the fact of, especially now that these come out, it's way past the fact of, well, Oswald did it, and the history books are exactly as they are written. That's exactly what happened. There's too many people have mysteriously died soon after this. That
Well, what about the testimony of the guy saying LBJ?
Yeah, dude.
Right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's video of LBJ when Oswald gets shot. There's video of him in the frame
crying. So sad about it because they were friends.
There's so many.
Keep going. This
There's
is
so many
He
weird.
cried himself to sleep on his huge
Oh,
pillow.
absolutely. But there's a video of LBJ smiling at some officials after this is all said and done, and he's sworn in as president. Like, okay, yeah, we did it.
We pulled it off.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we talk about that one in a recent episode.
I feel like we did.
We played the video of him, the confession,
Yeah.
and all the things. It's like,
Oh, that was the Nixon video.
Yeah.
Recording. Yeah.
so. I mean, it's almost like this isn't enough. I'm sorry. Here we go again. Hey, thanks for your promise. I know that we've gotten way more transparency than we've ever had.
Yeah.
Since these things happened.
Yeah.
But it's almost like I feel like we're still just not smart enough to handle the full truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. Like we're going to give them enough to make everybody go, well, they tried. But
So you're in the camp that, and we talked about this before you got here. You're in the camp that there's definitely more stuff.
yes,
Okay.
I'm in the camp that says this isn't enough. There's no way.
Oh, I get
I mean,
it.
there's no way.
Yeah.
There's too many, like you said, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to connect dots and go,
Yeah.
I want to know who in the CIA, who did it, who said,
Yeah.
go do it.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted. That's what everybody wants to know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay if I think at this point, most of America goes, okay, the CIA did it.
Oh, I think, yeah. Well, yeah, there was a poll.
I mean, they're just,
It's like, what, 60, 70% of America thinks that.
yeah, it was an inside job,
so-
right? So we all think that. So
Think
what?
about how troubling that is. That people, the taking out of a president of the United States, we're like, oh yeah, the CIA did it.
Oh, it is. It's very
Oh,
troubling.
my representative voted to increase their funding. That's cool.
Very
You know what I'm
troubling.
saying? Like
Oh,
that
yeah.
is. I mean, it's cognitive dissonance, right?
Right.
I mean,
well,
that's
and
just
the other half is it's been so long. They're not that way anymore. I mean, all those people are gone that would have done that. There's no nefarious people in the government.
That's
right
not passed down from, no.
yeah.
No.
All the bad ones were gone after after the JFK assassination.
Yeah, everything's
yeah.
fine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, they cleaned house.
Now the CIA, like we don't have the CIA are not the problem. Now it's BlackRock. That's the problem. CIA is fine. These guys are evil.
Exactly.
It's like no, it's evil's evil.
Yep.
This was wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that's what drives me crazy is that I want to know exactly. I want to know what the baby oil was for. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And I want to know who ordered that purchase.
Yep.
And I want to know why they were using it. And I want to know who they used it on. And I want accountability.
Yep.
I want accountability for these people.
Oh, I do too, because I mean, we've all seen the video of what looks to be, it's so grainy you can't necessarily tell, but what looks to be the driver in Kennedy's car.
Yes, turning around.
So we've all seen that, and it's like I'm with you. I want it to be spelled out in black and white. Here are the shooters. Oswald wasn't one because I don't think he was one at all.
Yeah.
Here's who they were. Here were their positions. Here's who told them to do it.
Right. And here's where they were in the mafia. Here's where they were in the CIA. Here's where they, you know.
Here's my hope. My hope is that they knew the people that were doing this at the time. Think of the FBI agents, the CIA, whoever it was. They knew that they had massive amounts of control. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have any other way for information to escape. So the compartmentalization of that information was significantly easier in the 60s than it is now.
Right.
And so those people thought they were untouchable. They're invincible. They take that information, and amongst the 85,000 pages that exist, that's what's going to test the sheer quantity of it is what's going to test how well they did at covering their tracks, because there could be some innocuous reference to some piece of evidence that no longer exists, and that right there is casting more doubt and is another smoking gun.
Oh, there's going to be tons of that.
Yeah.
But they didn't think anybody would ever get access to it, and
Right.
they didn't care, right? It's like the politicians do today with our budget. They say, this stuff's not going to crash down in my lifetime. I ain't really worried about
That's the
it.
thing,
You
yeah.
gotta spend
Yeah.
more. Well, I just hide it, cover it up, burn it, do whatever you got to do. If you see something that has it on there, get rid of it, and nobody's ever going to find this amongst this big pile of data. And I think that's what's going to help us play to our benefit, because they couldn't have gotten everything.
Just like the results of how certain
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
you know,
Pharmaceuticals?
certain pharmaceuticals. If it comes out, in 50 years, that's when. Oh, okay. Well, a lot of people will be dead by then.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that.
There's only going to be a handful that remain. And at that point, we can pay them because
Yeah.
we've made all this money.
Yeah.
You know,
Be careful, guys. We've been doing pretty good on YouTube.
I'm telling you,
we are now 10 days away from having our first strike.
I cannot get with saying the word unalived. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
yeah. I
know.
Golly, I don't even.
No.
I know it's just tough. Unalived.
If we were only on Rumble, we could say whatever we wanted.
I know. I know. Pushing up daisies.
We've
Does
got,
that
quite a,
get
few,
you?
we've got quite a few folks on Rumble. So if you're on Rumble right
Nice.
now, hit us up in the comments.
Does that get you pushing up daisies? That we could use that instead of
Yeah, that's a good-
unalived. I think that's a better one than unalived, because unalived just sounds like it's not. First of all, that's not even a word.
I don't think that's a word.
No.
I mean, unalived.
That was the whole purpose behind
Yeah.
it. Come up with something
Yeah,
that's just
pushing up daisies. Let's start using that. So, but yeah, I feel like there's more. I feel like they're holding.
I'm kind of with you.
And I don't think it's intentionally holding back. I think, I mean, I don't believe that. I think they want to just, get it done, get it over with. I think that there's people in control of things that are still just like, no.
But here's the thing: how can they say no?
Buddy, if Trent,
I mean-
if we've got a gang of thugs that we're not allowed to get rid of out of the country because of one judge, like,
You know what, dude? That's those judges, man.
they need to be kicked out.
Oh, and Tom Homan's response.
Oh, that was great.
He said-
I didn't pull that one up.
But he said something different. Now, Trump said he's going to, he said, no, I mean, we'll go whatever the court says. He said, but it's just unfortunate. And Tom Homan just came out and they asked him, well, what if they tell you can't? Well, we'll keep flying them. I mean, he's just
Yeah,
like,
he doesn't-
I don't care.
Yeah.
They're out. We'll keep
He said
flying.
the same thing. They were like, now you're referring to an old law, and I forget which law it was.
Yes, yeah.
And he said, well, the Constitution's older than that one.
Yep.
We still listen to that, don't we? They
Yeah.
just turned around and walked off.
Dude,
Yeah.
he's a
legit.
cold-blooded.
He's legit.
He's a
Yep.
cold-blooded pushing up daisy,
That's it. Yep.
right?
Yep.
I mean, he is something else.
God.
But that's what's needed in that position. I mean, you
Yes.
can't be soft. Look at all these.
The stones on that man.
Yeah.
Just like,
And you know that
Crazy.
they want him, like, there's quite a few bad apples and bad actors that want him pushing up
oh,
daisies.
absolutely.
So
You saw
his
if you see the footage of the Tren De Aragua, the video.
Yeah, man.
Oh, dude.
Yep.
I mean, we got to show this to
all
everybody.
right, let's show. Yeah.
Because this
It's
one
insane.
is it's harsh. Here, let's bring that up. You do not want to go to prison in El Salvador. That's immediate. They get into prison, shave them.
Nombre. Nombre.
César Eliseo Sortomala.
Well, you know, I feel like if we treated our prisoners this way, maybe things would be a little different.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they can't even like look up. I mean, it's like
And have you seen the prison cells that they put them in?
no.
Bro, it's like you get a metal bed that you sleep on.
Oof.
Tiny little cells. They cram them in there in like really tall bunks. See, those are bunk beds right there.
Yep.
4 high.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. And this is how they got rid of their, that massive crime problem that they had in El Salvador. It became one of the safest countries.
Look at that jail, man.
Yeah, man. They built these specifically for Tren De Aragua and, all the other MS-13, I think. I don't know if they're in El Salvador or not, but all the gangs that they've got, bro,
This is where you go.
that's where you go.
And, if you're on the 4th floor of that bunk bed and you fall out, tough.
Oh, yeah. Because
I mean, that's how they are, right? You're tough. Too bad.
it's not foam.
Right. Sorry, that floor's concrete. Should have stayed in your bed.
That's
That is.
Don't get busted in El Salvador.
No, how about just don't join a gang? But
Yeah.
what am I supposed to do? I don't have any other way. Yeah, you do. There's always another way. It's yeah. But yeah, I feel like it's not over yet. I think there's gonna be more that's coming out. I think Kash Patel's a little disappointed with this. I think, I think there's a lot of people in the government that are disappointed with this. You know who I haven't heard that's disappointed is Pam Bondi. Funny.
Man,
I haven't heard a word out of her that says, yeah, we're a little disappointed that there wasn't more in this.
We talked about this off after the show last week, and you have, Jared, you kind of opened my eyes a little bit on this.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Pam Bondi was an excellent hire. Did I have anything to go off of that? Nope. I was just looking at how other people that believe the same that I did reacted. Evidently, that is in question. So
It's very much in question.
I mean, she's better than what we had,
yeah, but she's still,
but
yeah.
she's not. But it's almost like he hit the bar so hard with so many players, right? Like his team, the people he's assembled, you're like, wow, they are doing this.
yeah.
What, you got astronauts in space for 9 months that should have been there for less than a week? Well, we'll go get them.
Yeah.
Why don't I have one of my guys go pick them up? Like, right?
Like it's a taxi.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about what they've done and what they've accomplished. And then it's like, she seems to be, I don't think she's incompetent or anything like that, but she seems to be a bit of a stumbling block. Like she's in over her head. She can't quite get everything done that they're asking. And it's like, and I know there's a lot of legalities to this, but I feel like what we expected versus what we got, that last dump we were supposed to have, was a disappointment to everybody in the administration and to us.
Can I posit another option?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the other option is that Pam Bondi this is intentional.
Okay.
So the other option is that, yeah, it could look like she's in over her head, like she's trying to do this, the right way and trying to be, hard constitutionalist Pam Bondi. It could be intentional because poison pills were bound to happen at some point. Trump did a really good job of vetting a lot of people, but you have to understand how hard the deep state, and I think we do, but for everybody out there, we have to understand how hard the deep state is trying to get their little moles inside of Trump's sealed outer perimeter. Yeah. And when you start having the big ticket items, the Epstein list, the JFK files, the MLK files, all this stuff being held back, I think the more likely thing is, I said it last week after the show, because it was because of the red flag laws. That to me, if you were willing to go, yes, we need red flag laws in Florida, that is wholeheartedly unconstitutional and entirely unconstitutional. And
so that
she was all on board with it.
So that's your tip. That's like your tip off of
if you'll compromise on one thing,
right? You're already going down the stairs.
It's like somebody cheating on their wife. When they do it once, the second time becomes a little easier.
Yeah.
Especially if they don't have a conscience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think you hit it. You know, he did such a good job. Think about the amount of people that are after him, or that don't like him, or that you know, I'll tolerate this. She doesn't seem to be one that is fully in the camp.
What's wild is, to me, she does, and I guess I'm just hearing what she says, but you've got to look at somebody's actions.
Yeah,
They
you got to
say
look at
they can say
somebody's
whatever they want
I mean,
to. And when Kash Patel sets up a direct line to Trump, completely bypassing Pam Bondi, that's when I kind of was like, well, that's kind of weird. I mean, that's a little strange.
Well, I think therein lies like a big. We know Kash Patel because we have a history,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
With him, that you go, he's going to be solid.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd she come from again?
Florida.
Right. But she's not somebody that has that history with the Trump administration. She's not tied to all the drama and all the crap that he went through, right? The most investigated person in the history of the world, really.
Yeah. She's not like Alina Habba or Steve Bannon or, you know.
Right. She doesn't have that kind of skin in the game, so to speak.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, in other words, and I'm going to use this loosely. I don't mean that they have a vendetta against people, right? But they want the truth.
Yeah.
Because they've had so many lies and so many smears that they just want the truth to come out, because the conspiracies have all been right.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. And so they want the truth to come out. Well, she's not one that's been peddling conspiracies, so to speak. You know, when Russia collusion broke, she wasn't going like, well, that didn't happen. No, she didn't say anything. Nobody heard anything from her, because she wasn't somebody that was,
Right.
you know, she doesn't have skin in the game.
Yep.
And so I'm just wondering if like, in my mind, maybe that's it. Like, she doesn't have enough skin in the game to really stick her neck out there and give everybody what they want. Where I think if it was Kash Patel in that position, he would apologize and ask for forgiveness.
Or your guy, Mike Walls. Was it Mike Walls?
No, Matt Gaetz.
Matt
Gaetz.
I don't know
Gaetz.
why I want to say yes, Matt Gaetz. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, somebody like a Matt Gaetz who has a little more charisma and a little more anger.
Man.
Would be like, oh, I'm sorry, I gave that to the American people already.
Yeah.
What are you going to do to Matt Gaetz when the American people know exactly who did it, why they did it, and everything else? You're going to hold him accountable? Because imagine the blowback for holding that guy accountable when he's the one saying, you know what? I don't care what the law is and what you people are coming against me. It's not even the law.
Yeah.
This is all not the law. This is all outside of the law, because the people have a right to know.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of security in that. I mean, there's a lot of the truth has a lot of security.
Yes.
And if you have access to the information and you release it, what are they going to do? Unalive you or have you push
up daisies?
Yeah.
Well,
Have
they
you
would
pushed
have
up
to.
daisies because you told the American people the truth.
They would have to.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side of it, if we've got this ball rolling of telling the truth, then when they're pushing up daisies, the people that know are going to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Because they realize that the American people are not stupid. We're not stupid. You know, there's no such thing as like this many coincidences and this many.
Oh,
you know,
exactly.
it's like this.
Yes. No. I mean, the dots can only connect so much.
I mean, if it
golly.
walks like a duck and talks like a duck,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So anyway, I go all in on that because I feel like I've been let down personally. It feels like a personal. Well, I think it's just to me though. They're like, you know what? I think he wants to know everything, so let's just hold this.
Yeah, they're thinking about
Me, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's how I feel, because I'm now at this point. It's like, wow, you let me down again.
Yeah, and now they're listening to this and like, yes, we did it.
Yeah,
Let him down.
Somebody, Pam Bondi's right now,
Yeah,
like, yeah,
absolutely.
okay, we got him. You know.
And I will say, because there's Pam Bondi people out there that are going to be livid about us saying that, I reserve the right to be wrong, but
Oh yeah,
I don't feel like I am.
Well, I mean, to those people who are going to be livid about it, change our mind,
oh yeah, exactly.
There you go.
because I want
go.
to believe.
Yeah.
The problem is so far, I know nothing about Epstein, and I know nothing about JFK that we didn't know before.
Right. The thing is, if you if you go on national TV and you're saying this with such force, and you're saying tomorrow is when we are going to release this,
Yes.
and then it doesn't happen,
Yes.
your credibility
Yes.
is severely questioned.
Yeah.
Like, you have to, in order to say this is coming out tomorrow, you have to be 100% sure that it's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean. Just dump it already.
Yes.
Just throw it out there, because otherwise you have egg on your face.
Yeah.
Right? And then to dump 60.
And then not to even mention it after that, though. Like, you never said it.
Right.
It's like,
Or, I mean, I guess that's a good point. Have the stones to get up and go, you know what? I thought we were going to dump it today, but guess what? We've decided to just review it real quick and withhold 20,000 pages.
yes, yes.
Like, just say the truth.
Yeah.
If that's what you did, fine.
I'd
because-
much rather you do that.
Right. And we didn't know these 60,000 pages beforehand. We didn't know that Joe Biden was being accused of being a traitor by,
Because it's
by
weird.
Kennedy.
It's weird to us when we feel like you're saying, oh, they'll just forget that I even said that.
Drive me nuts.
We start to question.
It drives me
I mean,
nuts.
you know, so
Yeah, just move on to something else. They'll forget we did.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just so
let me just mention it and then not say anything for a whole month.
crickets.
Yes.
Just crickets. Yep. My 11-year-old doesn't forget.
Oh,
Do you
no,
know what I
stop
mean?
it. Yeah.
Like, we're grown-ups.
Yeah,
They'll forget. No. You said
absolutely.
you were going to take me here.
Yep.
That was a month and a half ago. That was at Christmas. You know, like it wears me out. So
I've got a lot more stuff if we want to go in.
yeah, let's
fine,
go,
that's
because
fine, man.
we're going to stay here all night in disappointment and going to have to break out the bourbon.
I don't
I
have
mean,
any bourbon.
I don't even drink. So but yeah, it's just it's just so depressing. I just want truth. I just want transparency. I just want, because again, we'll come back to it. We serve a God of justice. That's
Yep,
why we
that's
want
it.
justice,
Yep.
because our God is a God of justice.
Yep.
He makes the wrongs right,
Yep.
and secrets are shouted from the mountaintop.
Yep.
This is the God we serve, and this is what we want to see.
Yeah.
Besides this, we also want to see, I kind of do, first of all, the Cybertruck on fire thing. Are they in a puddle of water? No, that's in front of the Trump Tower.
Was that when it?
The guy blew
okay,
himself.
okay.
The guy blew himself up.
Yeah.
Quotes.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit of a thread. So if everybody hasn't heard about this, this is the one that blew up in front of Trump Towers. But this is from Rick Wilson.
Okay.
And Rick Wilson is the head of the Lincoln Project. If you know what that is, it's
Yes.
like far left.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
radical. So this was his article. Elon has a weak spot. Attack. Tesla is no longer just a car company. It's a bank for fascists. A goose-stepping hedge fund bankrolling the political fever dreams of Elon Musk and his Doge dreams of controlling the ruins of the American government as he becomes Earth's first trillionaire and then the emperor of Mars. So they're basically pitching this as like, this is the language, right? This is the language,
Yeah, the verbiage that they're using.
right? That leads to this type of stuff, which is happening all over the country. And there was a map, and I didn't pull up the map, but it plots it everywhere. And of course, Elon was showing this, and he's like, the Democrats are the most evil party, in existence today. But it's literally everywhere, whether it's charging stations or it's in front of the buildings. And these are all people who are, a lot of them Tesla drivers,
Oh yeah.
but they're so deranged. And let's see, where was it? Like the behavior. I got to show you this one. This one was really wild. Check out what this guy does. You see what he's doing there?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, nobody else is seeing that. That might be a good thing. There you go.
See, the thing is though, and
Well, first of all, I've got a couple things about this to
Okay.
say. First of all is, don't shake his hand if you ever see that guy.
no.
Do you have the other video of the guy that keyed the car and they followed him? Did you see that one?
No, I didn't see
didn't
that.
Yeah, he's wearing a USA jacket, ironically, and then he gets out of his car and he hovers around this Tesla in a parking lot. Like you could see, it's like looking at it, and he's getting madder and madder. You know, like when you're in an argument with your wife
Yeah.
over who ate the last bowl of Frosted Flakes, and you're just looking at her and she's looking at you, and you're just boiling over. That's what he does when he looks at this car. And you can see it going, and then he gets his keys out and he goes over to the car and he just keys the whole thing just down the side. And so this guy who films the car films it. Actually, I think it was the car that films.
Oh yeah, they've got security. You put security on, the cameras run. So
and so
wild.
the
the
same
guy,
cameras that are watching the road,
Yeah.
would be security cameras.
so he's
Crazy.
the car films it, and the guy follows the guy who
Yeah.
keyed his car, and he says, "You keyed this," and the guy's like, "No, I didn't." He's like, "You did." Because I got it on camera. Like, it's you.
Yeah.
It's you. You're in the same coat. He's just going on about it. He's like, you're wearing the same coat. It's your face. Like, it's you. I didn't do that. You know, it's like, yes, you did. I mean, it's like, how stupid are these people? And here's the other half I was going to say while the cars were burning was this might backfire on them. Get it?
Yeah.
Backfire. That's a good play on
yeah,
words.
yeah.
Because now all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I want to buy a Tesla truck, even though I think they're for men
God.
that
And I think
like
they're
other men.
So ugly, dude. Oh,
You know, and they accomplish nothing
No.
other than this. They can't. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm being a contrarian tonight.
Yeah, go ahead. I want to hear what the Tesla truck.
did you buy one today and it's on the way?
I did not. My budget's not at the Tesla.
Okay.
Not
like-
at the Tesla. I don't have Cybertruck money, but there's
like-
a welder.
Uh-huh.
There was a welder out in wherever he was. I don't know, Midwest somewhere.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, my neck of the woods.
your neck of the woods. And he said, can you believe that I can drive to all my jobs? He drives job to job welding, and it's got 220 in the back of the truck. He can plug his welder in, and he said, I can actually technically weld because of the kilowatt hours of the battery for like 20 hours straight. And he said, no welder welds for 20 hours straight and still have enough to get drive like 100 miles or something crazy. So there's
Yeah,
utility
okay,
in it.
there's validity
utility
for
in it.
that.
Pretty wild.
For that guy, there's validity. All right, I'll give it
But
to
I
him.
see the two. I see the two in this area that driving around, and I'm just like, that is an absolutely butt ugly vehicle.
Well,
Like, it just-
first of all, yes, it is. Second,
But they're wearing
like,
suits.
right? It's like, okay, you're buying don't call it a truck.
Yeah.
First of all, because you're not throwing,
no,
you know, a half a pallet of lumber in the back of that
No.
thing.
no.
You're not using it for a truck. I will never see a bale of hay in the back of a Tesla Cybertruck, right? So it's not. It's a status symbol. It's just call it an electric status, a glorified. You know what it is? It's a man that has to buy a big truck is what it is. It's just that's what it is. It's compensating for something,
It's a little space,
right?
little spaceship.
Yeah. So,
Spaceship.
but I just can't call it a truck.
I personally, I think it's kind of cool. The concept is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But they're almost to the max of what they can actually do with them. Even Elon has said that the battery technology is not really getting much further. So you're going to get the 400, 500 miles at best.
I would just be terrified to not find a charging station. That would be my thing.
Yeah, it plans everything though. It'll tell you.
Really?
Yeah, it plans your route, and if you got to drive across, people have done this.
That's
they drive across the
crazy.
country.
Okay.
And it says, look, here's where you got to stop. Here's how long you've got to stop. Here's how long your whole trip is going to take nonstop, and you stop at charging.
Or you do what I've seen here multiple times on the interstate, and that is just strap a generator to the back of your Tesla.
Yes.
And I've seen it, and I'm kind of like, well, aren't you green? You know what I mean? Like, good job.
Yes.
Good job. I mean, I did see a meme today, which I got a kick out of, which was imagine if it was the inverse and Teslas came out before combustion,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you'd have the ad like, okay.
Oh, I would just need to hear the roar of a Raptor, a Ford Raptor.
Yeah,
I'd be
right.
like,
It was like imagine
That's right there,
imagine
that's what I want.
driving imagine driving an infinite number of miles without having to stop and recharge for 24 hours.
Yeah.
You know, like imagine the capabilities of having this many horsepower, you know, like
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
But that would sell. If Tesla came first, it'd be, you know,
Yeah. But it couldn't have because it relies so much on coal, so much on natural gas, so
right.
much on, petroleum products to build one of them. What they have to do using the mines to get the rare earth elements.
it's ridiculous. It's
yeah,
actually
it's-
worse than driving a regular vehicle is to
Yeah.
buy a vehicle that is created like that. It's more damaging.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, and you can't get rid of them. So I mean, the metals won't break down for whatever it's thousands of years.
Oh, the batteries don't break down.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with
I mean-
solar. The solar panels have massive heavy metals in them that are never going to break down. Yeah, the windmills, it's the same thing. You've got piles and piles of them everywhere. This boneyards, all those things. They're expensive. They're ugly. They ruin the skyline. So renewable energy is a pipe dream, but it's a really effective pipe dream if you want to control people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay, what's this one?
Okay, so this is
Scott
dovetailing.
Jennings,
Oh
man.
yeah, you got to go with some Scott Jennings.
Gosh, I love Scott
I do
Jennings.
too. He's
Man.
He kind of got a little heated in this one, but they're talking about the Teslas burning.
Okay.
Doubtful it's Republicans attacking Tesla dealerships around the country. It's pretty wild, actually. The other night, Donald Trump said these are domestic terrorists. Everybody laughed about it and scoffed at it. That video looks like terrorism to me. I mean, it's obviously an organized, coordinated effort, however people are communicating with each other, to do this to people around the country who chose to buy a Tesla at some point in the past, many of whom I'm sure are Democrats who bought them in the first place, all because their entire political worldview is ruled by their emotions. And that's the American left right now. It is one angry mob after another willing to take things into their own hands, up to and including keying, firebombing, and otherwise vandalizing cars and car dealerships and charging stations. It's outrageous. It is terrorism. People ought to be put in jail and left there for a very long time and be taught a lesson.
So when they do it to a Tesla dealership, it's really bad. But when they do it to the halls of Congress, we should pardon them.
Oh Lord,
Is that your
here we
position?
go.
No, I've
Yeah,
never. I don't
are
support-
we okay with the
I know you
January 6th ordinance?
I know you haven't been around for a while, so let me educate you about my position about January the 6th.
I'm so sorry.
Let me
I'm so
educate.
sorry.
Let me
You don't
educate
need
you.
to-
No,
you
no,
don't
no.
need to
No, you don't
patronize
need to.
me.
You don't. You don't.
I'm just
And you don't need to be
saying-
condescending to me.
I'm
So
not
let me
condescending.
educate you about my position. You want to attack me? Let me
I'm
finish.
just
Let me
asking you-
finish
I'm
it.
just asking you
Let
a
me finish.
question.
Let's do this January
I'm just
6th
asking
and
you
then
a
near.
question. I'm sorry you're getting emotional.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're a condescending person who hasn't been paying attention to what I do.
Okay.
Stop, guys.
So here's the issue. I didn't support what happened on January the 6th and was one of the first Republicans to call it out. I don't support the pardons. I have repeatedly, just like my friend Ashley here, said that no violence in our political system is acceptable. But this right here, what's going on with a guy who helps our country, who runs successful companies, who doesn't have to be doing this, and now one of his companies is under systematic terroristic threat and violence all over the country, and people seem to be laughing about it or fine with it. It's outrageous. I've sat at this table and had people say, we should cut Elon Musk from the government totally. He rescued our astronauts today. Is that what we want? The treatment of this guy is outrageous.
How is she having
These
that
people
face,
who are
dude?
doing
Like,
this
what-
need to be found, put in jail, and made an example of. That's my point.
Any
It comes back to this.
I mean-
that I sent you guys earlier.
I've got that one.
And I think this really sums it up because Karen here clearly is having an internal meltdown trying to come up with something, right? And the only thing she can do is accuse. But here we go. Statistics. Young liberal women are statistically the unhappiest and most mentally ill demographic in America.
And oddly enough, you sent me that. I had already pulled a clip that also supports that very thing.
It's so sad.
It is really, really wild, and this is around DEI in particular.
Okay.
Check this out. It's more.
Oh man, look at that.
Oh, this is wild.
White women with at least a college degree, the only group of white voters that really kind of is on the left politically, aligned with progressive causes, democratic politics. Give you an example here. It's that DEI question, right here, that we asked about in our poll. We had two big statements we read to voters. Basically, do you want to continue DEI programs or do you think they should be ended? And again, look at this divide here. White men, no degree, end it. White men with a degree, end it, they say. White women, no degree, end it, they say, by double digits. And then white women with a college degree, completely different by a nearly 40-point margin, they say, to continue DEI.
Okay,
I mean,
this is something we could talk about for a minute. And we
Yeah,
have
we
to be
could.
really careful here, but
yeah. It's
So white women with an education, with a degree, are, in my mind, are easier to indoctrinate than the men with a degree. Right? I went to college. I went to a Christian college, so that's a little different. I wasn't pumped full of garbage, but
Yeah.
okay, white women with a degree. This is a good poll that we can take on our show is, do you agree with that? Because, and you might have to take it privately while your wife's doing the dishes or something, but like, does this not show that there's a bit of an issue with white women with a degree that that think differently than the rest of us for some reason?
Look at Charlie Kirk's videos, which I love watching.
I do too.
He just got done at my old stomping grounds of UT Knoxville.
Yeah.
Did you see the video of the girl? You saw the whole thing. Go ahead.
I pulled a couple of those videos. So
Dude, that one. Anyway, most of them that I've seen are white women that are debating him.
Yeah.
So that lines up. I mean,
you come from, I love it. Like I'm from a conservative household.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But but she makes a statement. I got here. It's like, okay, wait, you got here and what? All of a sudden your foundation shifted?
Yep.
How does that happen?
And she completely said it in the if it's the same one I think that you're talking about. She said her parents, don't agree with her. And, once I just came to college, I was enlightened and I was like, there it is.
There it is.
That's it.
There it is. No, I mean, it's like you sit back and go, no, you were enlightened before you got here. Now you're indoctrinated.
There it is. Yep.
And you got it opposite.
Yep.
And if these white women who are going to get their educations would look at it from the beginning rather than the end as I'm going there and they're going to try to indoctrinate me, maybe it would be a different story. But
I've never run this in a test, obviously, or read this or anything. But it is I'm having an epiphany. Is it that? And I don't mean this in a bad way. People might think this in a bad way, but where like in a household, the normal relationship is the man is the leader of the household and responsible to you're independent thinkers. You each do your own thing, but there is a leader in the household, and that's how God made us in a relationship. Does that mean that women who are supposed to be the helper of the man are more susceptible to
following?
And you know what I'm saying? I mean, and I don't know if I could prove that statistically. I'm just trying to look at it biblically that's how we're wired.
Yes.
If you would like to sign up for this, please email us at
Please drop it in the comments if you're willing to be part of this. But I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to...
Gentlemen, if you're listening, you secretly while she's doing something.
Yes. I think that what drives men in the other direction, I mean, testosterone plays a big role
but
in
we're
it.
independent. We're going to lead. We're charting our own course.
Right.
We're going to do it.
And there's something about, men that are raised in a feminine household. It's not that they necessarily have lower testosterone, but it's the personality. Their body doesn't know how to cope with the personality that's been, and the character traits that they have learned from other beta people, like in a beta father or no father and just a mother, that sort of thing. So I think that men typically, once we start getting into maturity, our testosterone, the way we see the world, it's generally going to be one specific way.
Well, I think you're hitting it on the head. We're not ruled by our emotions by any stretch.
Yeah.
For the most part, men think logically. We know that.
Yep.
We also have the ability to compartmentalize. Where, my wife has a train of thoughts at one time. And, it's true. All the memes you see are true. Like, I wonder what he's thinking about. And it's just like the word ice cream,
Yes.
where, I wonder what she's thinking about. And it's like a mathematical equation, and birds at the same, the same time. It's just like, what in the world? How much stuff can you fit in 1 minute in your head, right? And where we're just like, ice cream.
Yeah.
And
and I think I have to say too that Jordan Peterson talked about agreeableness. This has been part of his teaching for a really long time, and kind of his rhetoric is that women tend to be as a rule more agreeable than men, which means they're kind of like, I just go along to get along, and so they put themselves in those. They're less likely to walk away from a situation like that where they're hearing something that they know to be really weird. This doesn't sound quite right to me. And then in an agreeable way, they'll spend more time around those people because they don't want to offend them, because they don't want to, take that hard stand. And this isn't all. This is just a generalization.
Which we never do on this show, by the way.
Right. But it's proven that you are the average of the top 5 people you hang around. So if you get into a group, you're less likely to leave that group unless you have something like faith, Christianity that tells you this is wrong and I am going to step away from this because I know that it's corrosive. If you don't have that as a foundation,
But they're so nice, though. You know, like this is the problem. But these people are so nice.
Right.
Oh, she makes me laugh. They're so funny. I don't want to, I want to hang out with them. But, they
I
worship.
don't want to offend them.
Yeah, they worship Satan, but that's but they're so nice. I'm not gonna worship Satan, but they can. That's up to them. They can live that lifestyle. They can do those things, but I don't want to say no to them.
If you stay in certain situations, things can creep into your life without you even meaning them to.
Yep.
Correct. You become
Yes. So
who they are.
Yeah. The average of the top 5 people you hang around.
So I mean, it's just guilty by association.
Yes.
And I didn't do it. He did it, but well, you're with them.
Plus, it's really a battle, right? And it's a mental battle when you're in college. I didn't experience that. I had really liberal professors. I went to a military college, not one of the academies, but I went to a different state military college, and we had some liberal professors, but we all were kind of like, oh gosh, he's just a crazy. What we said then, he's just a wild Democrat. Like it's
he rode his bike here.
Well, I mean, in most colleges, though, most universities, I mean, I have no idea, but from interactions with like professors at UT and just knowing how colleges are, I would say probably 80% of them are left. Most colleges.
Well, we did on the show. We showed the percentages of the different majors in school, and how many conservative professors there were versus right.
It's like 95%.
It's 95%, at least. I think it was 98. I thought it was even higher than that. Where it's like, in English majors, if you're an English major, rah rah rah, you are going to be 100% taught by a liberal person because there isn't a conservative one out there.
That's
like
why
that kind of thing.
When they show the map on election years and they're talking about, say, Wisconsin, for instance, when the county that Madison is in is talked about, they always say, well, that's going to be a stronghold for the liberals, for the Democrats tonight. That's most college towns, as it shows, most college towns are going to be liberal.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But if you look here at conservative versus liberal professors in schools, right?
Yep.
And this is just up to 2019. So
Yeah, but starting in 1969, what else happened in the 60s? Like, I don't know, maybe a big push for communists and for Marxism in the States, right? Feminism. Look at this.
That's
And if this isn't telling, because it's a perpetual machine. They get it. They go, if we can indoctrinate them and teach them this stuff, they're going to come out believing it.
Oh yeah.
And if they're led by their emotions, DEI sounds like a great thing. It makes you feel good knowing that you're helping the lesser.
Yep.
Which is so incredibly racist because they're not lesser.
Especially if and I'm sure they're like, and if we have a bias on grading these students a certain way, if they one of the classes I was in was philosophy. I did not want to take philosophy. I had to. And I knew going into it that that was gonna be rough. I mean, and there were several papers that I wrote that mentioned God and Jesus, and because I'm like, let's see what happens.
See what he does. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he would write some stuff, and it wasn't too bad, but he respected, my beliefs, but
Well, he's in Tennessee.
that's true. It's a little bit easier in Tennessee.
Yeah.
But it's like you could still tell there was this like this unease with the whole class. I mean, it was like a cloud that was like, who's going to mention it? Who's going to mention it? And we're just going to go at it.
Yeah.
Well,
At any second, the fuse has been lit from
yes.
hello students.
Yes.
The fuse is lit at this
Yes.
point.
we had a professor. Everybody knew. Like if you took it was a debate class. If you took a left wing point of view, A or B. If you took a right wing point of view,
Yep.
you were going to be a C or a D.
Yep.
And Ben Shapiro would tell you, for any young folks that happen to be watching this, do what you have to do to get the good grades.
I've told my daughter this.
Just look, if
Yep.
you have to write some drivel about something that you don't actually believe, it's just a college class. It's only 4 years.
Yeah.
Knock it out, get your good grades.
Anthropology especially, because my goodness, We absolutely came from apes.
Yeah, and I talked to her about that specifically.
Oh,
I'm
man.
like, you know what? You go in and you suck it up and you say, yes, this happened. This is what it was. But in your heart and in your head,
you know. Yeah.
you know this is a lie. You know it's
Yeah.
not true. You need to feel sorry for your professor because they're too stupid to realize that this is false.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do know that it's false and they're teaching you false, then you need to feel extra sorry for them because their entire life is a lie, and that's no way to live.
My anthropology professor was in his 80s.
Wow.
Still teaching?
Dude, he was the oldest professor I saw on that. I mean,
Wow. In his 80s. But did he believe?
oh, absolutely. Oh,
Really? In
like
his
believe as in like
No,
Christ or, oh, he believed in what he taught.
He did.
Oh,
He believed
oh.
100% that we came from monkeys.
100%.
And nobody ever asked him, like, well, how do monkeys still exist if we came from them?
No.
Because that's just the answer that just derails the whole thing.
Yeah.
If you evolve, then that thing you evolved from doesn't stay a thing.
Yep.
So, anyway, I can't. I just,
Yeah, we could. You want to talk about anthropology or that sort of stuff, but this isn't necessarily anthropology, but it does give us some interesting. Did you hear about the pyramids? The new discovery of the pyramids?
no,
Oh,
Please share.
Oh, no, I didn't hear that either.
please share.
This is wild. This just came out. There's going to be a talk on it, but the technology is far beyond what people thought it was.
Oh, look at that. What do
Oh, I
you know?
guarantee.
Far beyond.
First of all, did you know that the Gaza pyramids, that the pyramids in Egypt are literally like you can walk across the street. So every time you see
yeah.
them, right? But every time you see them, it's like the middle of the desert. You got to take this Jeep out there, and it's like this.
Oh, no,
They are across the street from 7-Eleven.
Yep.
Like, I mean, they are right down. It's like, bam.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
really crazy.
Play it.
Struggling
This
to
is-
express in
This
words
is 7 minutes, but it's worth
just
it.
how significant of a discovery this is.
I'll skip through the first part.
The pyramids at the Giza Plateau and the plateau itself is so incredible, so awe-inspiring and narrative shattering that I have been sitting here for the last hour trying to wrap my head around the implications of what we were just told. So this is pretty much breaking news because the new findings were announced on the 16th of March at a press conference held by the team who was studying the Great Pyramid of Giza with a non-invasive technology that was first developed by Filippo Bionde and Corrado Malanga called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography. So this was used to explore the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza, and this method leverages the analysis of micro movements typically generated by background seismic activity to achieve a high resolution full 3D tomographic imagery of the pyramid's interior and subsurface components. The recent findings from deploying this technology are nothing short of mind-blowing, because what's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock, in fact over 600 meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the ground. 2 kilometers. Massive internal structures connected to the base of the pyramid and extending deep down. This
Okay, pause
is
this
what
for
we
a minute
know.
because we need to process this.
Listen, I was starting getting lost when they said the people's names and what.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was like, oh, God.
I mean, you can stop at the 600 meters, right? Is that what he said? 600 meters. So what is that in
how many
feet?
feet? Yeah, how many-
Yeah, because we're not
So-
smart.
1 meter is 3 feet.
Right. So 2 kilometers, he was talking about him going, that's 1.2 miles
Good.
Below the surface,
below the surface.
they've got structures built.
Yes.
How was that even?
You know how it's possible.
600 meters is about 0.3 miles.
So
So, I mean, it's close to yards. It's like 650 yards.
we can talk about this the rest of the night.
Oh yeah, this is it. I mean,
I mean-
you should we
could have
put the
started with-
JFK files,
Yeah.
next week or something. This is
So okay, so you're talking about over a mile deep. They've got stuff that they have. Let's just put that into perspective. No,
The way this sounds is that, so in places like Louisiana, right, this is how they used to build. Because you don't have a solid surface to
right.
build
You
on,
got to go down
right, and they're on sand, right?
pylons. You put in pylons, right?
Having pylons down to the ground.
You don't go 600. You don't go that deep. You don't.
Well, he gets to more like potential.
Okay,
things
it
that
keeps
this could
going.
be.
so you don't. So right off the bat, you don't believe this.
Right off the bat, I look at this and go, That's not possible, maybe even today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Fair.
So, okay, go ahead.
Okay.
So far, utilizing high-resolution radar images from Capella Space and Umbra, which are two private companies that specialize in satellite-based synthetic aperture radar imaging. This has allowed researchers to create a 3D model of the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, this model has revealed a previously unknown chamber with 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof, which in of itself is an architectural design unlike any previously documented in the Giza Pyramid. But the most shocking discovery lies beneath the surface. Below ground level, radar tomography has identified vertical cylindrical structures extending for hundreds of meters beneath the pyramid. There are 8 of these cylindrical wells arranged in 2 parallel rows, descending to an astonishing depth of 648 meters. Even more intriguing, at the base of these structures are 2 massive cubic formations measuring approximately 80 meters in diameter. The tomographic data suggests that these are vertical wells with intricate spiral pathways. Now, this design not only implies a functional purpose, but also a level of sophisticated engineering that completely blows the dynastic Egyptian model out of the water. I mean, the pyramid itself was already a massive red flag in the ancient Egyptian historical narrative. But now, with this discovery, I think it's become impossible to say that the Egyptian civilizations that we understand, that we've been taught about, were responsible for building these structures.
Yeah, there's no
and
way.
it doesn't even
Hang
end
on.
there. The radar analysis extends beneath the entire Giza plateau, revealing interconnected structures beneath not only the Great Pyramid of Giza, but also those of Khufu and Menkaure. The subsurface network reaches down to a staggering depth of approximately 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers. This is not possible, given the standard historical and archaeological narrative given to us about ancient Egypt. Now, I'm hearing that there is more to come. There is a 4-hour presentation that's going to be released by the research team. This is what I'm hearing. That's going to go into every detail of their findings. This has essentially been a strategic release of incredible data ahead of time to get people interested. And I am more interested in this than basically anything else right now, because this is by far the most provocative piece of evidence for not only a potential technological explanation for the purpose of the Giza complex, but it also provides the most extraordinary evidence for a pre-flood era civilization that was flourishing in a way that we can scarcely comprehend. It's also possible that this spiraling cylindrical series of structures are staircases, and I can't help but think of the channeled writings of Thoth the Atlantean. You know, the emerald tablets.
Yeah, I can't
Speaking of a
either.
lost hall of records, a sacred hall of knowledge below the Giza plateau, the halls of Amenti. Could this be the lost hall of records from the pre-flood era? Now, obviously, this discovery is extremely controversial. It runs as a complete contradiction of the established narratives and status quo in mainstream academia on these issues. This will cause big waves throughout the academic and the wider world if they can fully evidence these findings. But the results so far seem pretty clear. There is obviously significant structural engineering taking place deep below the pyramids and the Giza Plateau in general. Has this changed your mind on the pyramids? Has this strengthened your position on what they might have been? Has this new discovery given you any new ideas about what the implications are?
I do like that he included the pre-flood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because it did happen, and
That's
I gotta wonder about the timing of this coming out. The dropping of this kind of knowledge is, you know, as spiritually and scripturally, right? Like, this is a pretty big deal. We've always
That's wild.
I think since the beginning of time, since the pyramids, since the post-flood pyramids were there, right?
mm-hmm.
I think people had probably thought, like, who built these?
Yeah.
Right? This is crazy. This is crazy. I think pre-flood pyramids were like, oh, look, there's pyramids.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, you've seen what's all over the world and these things that were built, and you're like, there's just no way that we could lift the rock that they're using today, let alone what they did back then. Well, it's easy. They just put logs under it and rolled it with, you know, Tim, get on the back and push. No, that's not going to work. You know, you're moving a mountain. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
But, you know, you look at this now and go two. That's like 2 kilometers down. Think about how high you fly in the air.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 1.6 miles is what that equates to.
So you're telling me that they're going down farther than we fly. And how? What kind of technology existed then? And how many years do you think it would take to dig if they were doing it by hand?
They'd still be digging.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can tell you somebody that, yes.
Well, not necessarily, but I mean, it's like the, you know, you're talking about the ability, if it's a cylinder, there, you know,
They could screw it into the sand.
well,
Is that what you mean?
no, I'm saying, is it hollow or is it, I guess it's not a tube. I guess it's just a solid.
surely it's not a completely solid.
You
I
can't.
mean, there's no way.
There's
no way.
How do you bring that up, or do you build it in sections? Is what I mean.
Right.
You know.
I'm saying,
okay.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, do you bring it in piece by piece like they did the pyramid? There's no way you could, obviously, something that goes 2 miles is going to be one solid item. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
Okay,
but-
so what do we make of this? So I mean, this is.
Well,
I've
doesn't
never
this
even seen anything.
doesn't this cause a lot of a lot more questions, or validations of like, okay, we know that the technology, fallen angel technology, existed, right? That the sons of God laid with the daughters of man. They also imparted technology to man, which is why what happens when they try to build a tower, right? God confuses their language because they were building a tower. They were able to do things that were not supposed to be given to man.
Yep.
Okay. And this would be a great example of that, where they're not going up, they're going down. But it's still like, there's no way the 3 of us, college people, right? Like, you know, we're educated white women. There's no way that we're going to come up with, in our mind, you know what? We need to make these things really stable. Let's dig down 2 miles.
8 times.
8 times. And then put a big box under it, which is what it looked like. And then interconnect the whole thing throughout the plateau, because it's just cooler down there. What?
I don't know,
I mean,
man.
I think that does make sense. If like what you're saying, that's because
It reinforces that narrative,
does.
doesn't it?
Yes,
Where
it
it's
does.
like, that's superhuman technology
Oh, yeah.
that they're using.
Yeah.
We can't replicate that today. I challenge it. Can you find a place like that anywhere?
There's no.
I mean, we're going into the mountains to you know.
yeah, I mean, we could do some pretty amazing digging now. We could probably do something similar, or we can. I mean, we do with the oil rigs and our ability to dig deep.
That's
deep.
correct.
Yes,
That's wild right there.
yes.
Yep.
And then
So
you know
we can
we've
do-
got the
But then to build the pyramid on top of that,
right.
what's the food storage like cave things that they have in is it Antarctica or like the
seeds, yeah, in Russia, Siberia, they have the
is that it?
seed,
Okay.
the seed storage, pure seed storage in the mountainside that they've done.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Oh gosh, yeah.
The ones that are not susceptible to.
Yeah, that I haven't been GMO'd.
Yeah.
They're
non-GMO.
literally on the side of a mountain.
But I mean, you know, so you think about this. This is we're doing this today, kind of. They did this. There's no way.
Absolutely no way.
There's no way.
Nope.
Fallen angel technology. That's what we call it. I mean, how else do you describe it?
no.
People would say, you know, this
It's
is why I'm
alien.
bringing it up. This
Yes,
is why I'm
yes,
bringing it up.
yes.
Right.
Here's the knowledge dump, right?
Yes.
It's happening now, just as everything else is happening now,
Yes.
because when we're rescued,
Yep.
we're not rescued, we're abducted.
Oh,
It's
yes.
an easy sell.
Absolutely.
This is such an easy sell for the enemy. You know what? We're going to find out more and more of this kind of stuff. There was somebody here before us. Look what they did. You know?
If the aliens guy on the History Channel gets a hold of this,
Oh yeah.
it's
his
done.
hair's going to be even more crazier. I mean, it's going to be
very
wild.
true.
Yes.
So I mean, this just fits right in it's like get in line. Because there's going to be more of this stuff that's happening.
Yep.
Mayans, no, they didn't do that. You know who did that? People from Zyklon 7. You know, like
Yes.
it just becomes this like commonplace of everybody in the world knows that this didn't come from us. This came from outer space, and this is, whatever. And
you listen to Louis Giglio.
Oh, I love Louis.
Yeah, so he did a series a while back, and he said, what better example of God's existence than space and the solar system, right?
Yep.
I mean, it is.
he spoke the stars.
Right.
Yes.
Something so massive that we cannot comprehend.
Yep.
So when people say, well, there's no God, so I've got to explain these pyramids and all this stuff somehow, it's got to come from outside of that, outside of the unimaginable and the unbelievable, which is what the universe really is.
Yeah.
And they don't know that, they should know that beyond that is God, but they're like, well, that's the next biggest thing. So it's got to come from another alien, superior life form, something superior to me,
Right.
something better than me,
Right.
that can do things better than we can do them or could have done them,
Yeah.
2,500 years ago or however long ago.
Well, I've heard. I mean, there's this theory, like they were here, they built all this stuff, then they left.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, why would you leave?
Yeah.
I mean, well, they left. No, they didn't. I mean, they're not leaving. And if they did leave, why aren't they back? Right?
Yeah.
Like what? Because they're still here. It's still here. It's all still here. It's just it just wears me out. And you're going to see more and more of it. You mark my words.
Yeah.
We are going to see more and more of this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then you know what's going to happen? The Project Bluebeam,
Yeah.
right, is going to ramp up, and then you're not going to know the false from the real because Project Bluebeam will be found out. It already is, because it's already out there. Anything that happens is going to be conspiracy theorized and washed away with like that was the government playing a joke on us. There's no such thing as giant clowns coming out of the ocean, right? We get it.
Yeah.
So, but when it really happens that we disappear, they're going to have a reason for that. And the government's not going to be able to blame that on Project Bluebeam. Conspiracy theorists are not going to be able to say the government did this. It's going to have to be real, and it's going to have to be like, see, we told you, look at what they did back in,
Oh, yeah, they're going to
look at what they did
pull
in
up the
Egypt.
cylinder video.
Yeah. 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 Tim, you got the video?
Yes.
You got the video of the yeah.
I just put up a comment. B Davis said, first off, came in and said, yeah, it's like an iceberg, and that's a good depiction of it. The pyramids look tiny compared to those things. And then said, you certainly are braver than the rest, and I'll stay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
I like that.
It's like space and the human body, specifically like DNA. Those two things just are the evidence of God
God exists.
there. I mean,
You can't, I mean,
there's like the way a single cell like they did a microscope. There was a picture of like it was the highest resolution thing that I've seen, and like it showed the inside of the cell, and it had just like it did in our biology books. It was exactly like that, and it's like there is no way that this is not right. Like you have to come to the realization that okay, definitely somebody way more intelligent created all this. And the best analogy that I've ever heard, and I was talking to somebody that I used to work with years ago, and she was not a believer. And we were just kind of having some discussion, and I said, I'll say it this way, but I can't take credit for this. This is somebody else. But I said, can a book write itself? And she said, well, of course not. I said, right, because it has to have a what? An author.
Mm-hmm.
This can't just happen.
right. No.
And I said, here's what happened. And I kind of gave her, the quick little gospel thing. Like I said, he died for you. She said, but I didn't ask him to do that. And I said, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't ask him to do that.
Yeah. Well, and people that talk about God, there's an apologist, and I don't remember his name, but he essentially says, people say it came from the Big Bang. Well, what happened before the Big Bang? We don't know.
Yeah.
So you're saying that something can come from nothing. Well, obviously we don't believe that something can come from
Right.
nothing. There has to be a creator. And the folks that are of science, which I believe in. I mean, science is not it's not a
Science
something
proves
to be-
God.
Exactly.
I believe in science.
You're right. Yeah, I believe in science.
Yes.
but God exists outside of space, matter, and time.
Yep.
And if the Earth came from nothing, it becomes, where would you put it? When would you put it? And
You're going Ken Ham.
yeah, is that who it was?
That's the best, dude.
But it's the best
Ken Ham-
explanation.
That's a
right?
great explanation. Yeah.
And
Yep.
so a God can be outside of that, but Earth and physical matter can't.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no beginning, no end.
I think it's Ken Ham. I've seen that YouTube clip though.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
You want to throw Christians off the trail? Call him Kenneth Ham.
Kenneth Ham.
Yeah, because Ken Ham. Everybody knows Ken Ham, but nobody knows
When you say
Kenneth.
that is true. That is
right?
true.
So when you
can
talk
see
to
that.
somebody about it, I've got a good friend named Kenneth Ham, and he says,
I don't think it was Ken Ham.
No.
Okay, shoot. Well, Ken Ham is. Oh, he's the guy Ken Ham is the guy that debates Bill Nye the Science Guy at the Ark. That's
Yeah.
who Ken Ham is. Who is that? Who is that that guy?
I'm surprised Bill Nye didn't set on fire when he walked.
Dude,
Is that the picture you're thinking of?
that's it, man.
Yeah,
Is that not wild?
it is. It is a wild.
Is that
image.
not crazy?
a cell?
Oh, good
Yeah.
gracious.
And then the cells that fight infection. What's that? We talked about this. How the cells that come together to fight off infection are in the shape of a cross.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this dude.
Yeah, this is the one. It's not Ken Ham, but I forget what his name is. I'm
yeah.
playing it because it's good.
Yep.
At a time, which one would you like? That was part of the format for the debate. So which
I want you to fill in the story of the rest of the beginning of the universe. God, spiritual matter, impact on material matter.
Okay, so 2 questions. All right.
He's going to get up for
All
this
right,
one.
your question, where did God come from, assumes that you're thinking of the wrong, obviously it displays that you're thinking of the wrong God, because the God of the Bible is not affected by time, space, or matter. If he's affected by time, space, or matter, he's not God. Time, space, and matter is what we call a continuum. All of them have to come into existence at the same instant, because if there were matter but no space, where would you put it? If there were matter and space but no time, when would you put it? You cannot have time, space, or matter independently. They have to come into existence simultaneously. The Bible answers that in 10 words. In the beginning, there's time. God created the heaven, there's space, and the earth, there's matter. So you have time, space, matter, created a trinity of trinities there. Just, time is past, present, future. Space has length, width, height. Matter has solid, liquid, gas. You have a trinity of trinities created instantaneously, and the God who created them has to be outside of them. If he's limited by time, he's not God. The guy who created this computer is not in the computer. He's not running around in there changing the numbers on the screen, okay? The God who created this universe is outside of the universe. He's above it, beyond it, in it, through it. He's unaffected by it. So the concept that a spiritual force cannot have any effect on a material body, well then I guess you'd have to explain to me things like emotions and love and hatred and envy and jealousy and rationality. I mean, if your brain is just a random collection of chemicals that formed by chance over billions of years, how on earth can you trust your own reasoning processes and the thoughts that you think? Okay, so your question, where did God come from, is assuming a limited God. And that's your problem. The God that I worship is not limited by time, space, or matter. If I could fit the infinite God in my 3-pound brain, he would not be worth worshiping, that's for certain. So that's the God that I worship. Thank you.
When somebody you're debating starts out with how would you like it? And then he stands up. No, say you're done. You're done.
I wouldn't.
I mean, these people, these professional debaters, they steel man every other argument. I don't know if you've watched Andrew Wilson or not. I'm not a huge fan of his delivery. He's very crass. He changes.
Is he leftist? Isn't he?
No, he calls himself a Christian nationalist,
I've seen him.
but that has a bad connotation.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him. Who I'm thinking of is somebody else. So yeah.
I don't like his delivery. He cusses a lot. He's smoking all the time, and he's a Christian ethicist. Is what he's doing.
Ethicist.
What's that?
A Christian ethicist.
Yeah. What did I say?
That's what you said.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out what that is exactly.
Yeah. So a Christian ethicist is basically saying the Christian principles that need to be applied to our society. He talks about why the leftist policies or the anti-Christian policies are in direct opposition to our society and not good for our society. And if you follow a more Christian worldview, and he follows it very harsh, he's Orthodox Christian is what he does. But he says these are all the benefits of that, even though he says, you accept some unpopular truths about he doesn't believe that women should vote. And again, I'm not saying that I agree with all this. I'm just saying that this is his stance. He says that women shouldn't vote, that women shouldn't, we should try to have a long-term plan to get women out of the workplace, all of this sort of stuff. So he follows it to a T. Although, when it comes to women and working, I would say that Lila Rose made a point recently, and I've kind of been debating it in my head, that it wasn't always women not working, which it used to be. That was kind of what we say was the traditional family. The woman stayed at home, the man would go to work. Women were still doing work and manual labor around the house, and some of them were out in the market and selling the goods and selling the wares. So technically they were working, that it's an actual newer concept that women weren't in the workplace. But I need to take that part out. But either way.
I will tell you, I think, the stay-at-home mom works harder than the go-to-work dad.
Absolutely.
By far.
Yes.
Or the stay-at-home dad works harder than the go-to-work mom.
Yeah.
And so
you ought to watch Andrew Wilson. The Crucible is his channel.
Okay.
And again, if you're not into foul language, you don't want to watch it, but it's not like he's just rampant with it. He makes really good points, and he is a very, very good debater. So I don't know.
Like a Charlie Kirk good or...
Yeah, Charlie Kirk's pretty pretty good.
We're gonna wrap up. Did you have the Tennessee videos of him?
Yeah, I had some.
Okay, let's go ahead and see if you got the girl.
Don't do the abortion one that I sent, just because that could be saved for another time.
Okay,
Yeah, so we can dive into the abortion argument.
The only other one that I have of his was the Jesse Smollett of University of Tennessee.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. This is
it's eye-opening that this is our youth culture.
Yeah.
Sad to say, this is my alma mater.
Oh yeah.
But this is great because this hits the nail on the head.
Yeah.
You're a liar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're crying wolf, and this is the problem with this whole movement. Stop crying wolf.
Yep.
That did not happen.
Yep. Because if it did, you would have gone to somebody.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Number one. Number two. Nobody actually cares about your skin color, but you.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it.
So go ahead.
I was hate crime 5 times in one night, okay? 3 of them by Trump supporters.
What happened to you?
I was just walking, and then I see this truck full of 4 white men pass by me, MAGA apparel, everything, They drove past me, and they were like, you bend over.
Okay, so they said the N-word on campus to you.
Well, yes.
Okay, so what happened to them when you reported them?
I didn't report them.
Threatening to rape you is an intent of a crime. Did you go to the police? You file a police report? You hire an attorney? You sue the school? Did you go to the civil rights office? Do you file a civil rights complaint? Did you do any of that? Because you should.
Okay.
No, did you? Tell me. Yes or no?
I did not, but
Why?
I'm not going to argue with you.
No, but
on
you're coming in front of
experiences.
2,000 people to say it. Why did you
Right.
not go to the university and say this happened?
Next instance, they threatened to rape me and then just drove off.
Hold on. So a bunch of Trump guys who are largely white heterosexual males then also threatened to rape you?
Different group of people, but yes.
I'm gonna show you the university official.
It's a different group of people, but yes. You're confusing things a little bit. This kid, in my mind, when I saw this, I actually said to myself, this kid's got a lot of problems, and being threatened by a group of Trump supporters isn't one of them.
Nope.
This kid's got problems from his feet to his forehead, and that's not one of them.
Nope.
Go ahead.
Don't you go file a Department of Education complaint, and let's find these terrible people that did this to you. Can we agree?
Okay.
Okay.
I'll think about
and by
that.
the way, we'll be able to look at security camera footage, and we'll see.
Okay, I'll think about that.
But you didn't do that.
Can I try
though.
to finish?
You'll think about it.
about
Hold on.
that.
Why wouldn't you want to do that immediately? No, honestly, I think you're Jussie Smollett at this campus. I think you're completely making this whole thing up. I think you are a complete liar because I am now giving you an opportunity to report this at the high. I will bring this to Linda McMahon, the head of the Department of Education, the federal government.
And he can.
I will make sure these people are arrested by Kash Patel, the head of the FBI. And you'll say, oh, I'll think about it. Because you're making this up. You're doing this for a political purpose. So will you, no, seriously, Kash Patel will get involved. Yes? It's a hate crime. That's not acceptable. Will you do this or not?
That's really cute, Charlie, but I'm trying to give you the opportunity to alleviate hate within this group of people who have a shared ideology.
But hold on a second. There's no hate. There's just love of America here in this audience. That's all that's here today, okay? That's all that's here.
I have a point on this. This is making up fake hate to get someone to denounce fake hate, And then when they don't,
you can accuse them of fake hating.
Right, that you were for hate.
If
Don't they call it like race baiting too? I mean, like he's like.
I mean, Charlie goes in there, and if this really happened to him, and Charlie said, okay, like if something really happens to you, and somebody says, no, that didn't happen, you would be irate.
Oh, I'd be like, you're calling me a liar?
Yeah,
this
his
kid
face
doesn't change. Yep.
I was like, dude.
Because you just got called out in front of 2,000 people. And now, you know what? You're going to be made fun of.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's the thing. And I think we get back to just good old common sense, right? With this, if you're going to do stupid things, you're going to win stupid prizes.
That's right.
Like, you know what? I'm sorry that you got beat up after saying all this stuff, but you had it coming.
Yeah.
If your parents didn't discipline you with spankings, you're going to have your friends discipline you
around school now.
And and that's probably some of it. I want to be noticed,
Oh, yeah.
right? There's this attention grab that's happening.
Yep.
But he's not going to get the kind of attention that he wanted. Oh, that's right. You were the liar at the Charlie Kirk thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and you look at the audience, there are different colors there.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't the all-white audience.
That's
Tennessee,
the same amphitheater that after my first semester where I did not make good grades, I was contemplating my college career. I remember I laid there one night and was like, what do I do? That's it. No, that can hold a lot of people. So that's...
It said 2,000.
Yeah, that is... Oh, my gosh, man.
Well, I'll tell you what. That just pretty much sums up. That's the icing on the cake of the whole show right there.
Yep.
About it.
Because... number one, you clearly are super proud of your race. And I think if I could possibly find a t-shirt that talks about my whiteness, we could win all the way around. Why don't we see more white t-shirts, more whiteness t-shirts? We need to make, that's our Braver Than the Rest t-shirt. I'm whiter than you.
Oh, gosh.
Braver than the rest.
We're not doing that. I'm not.
That's what I want to do. Because I'll tell you what, this kind of stuff, you go, no.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
That could go so wrong. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I'm not being a hateful person, but my sister is actually half, she's half black and everything. It's not her fault. So, but you've got this whole demeanor, everything about this. You sit back and go, why are you choosing to identify as everything but a child of the Most High King?
Yeah.
You're clearly super confused about who you really are.
So lost.
And I got to look at it and go, you know what? When our future is dictated by our past, that sets us up for a lot of trouble, a lot of strife, a lot of drama. When we go back to this is my parents, this is my whole, like I'm Italian. I loved coming from New York because everybody's Italian. They'll let you know they're Italian.
Absolutely.
I want to sit there and go, what are you doing here then?
Yeah.
Leave that stuff at home.
Yep.
And when you're here, you're not Italian, you're just a human.
Yep.
It doesn't matter where you came from. And guess what? You're not black, you're not white, you're not Italian. We all come from the same seed.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So stop it.
Yep.
Stop it. Just stop it. But no, instead, I'm going to wear my shirt. I'm going to be in front of 2,000 people and claim things that didn't happen to me happen so that I can get a rise out of people and be Jesse Smollett. What a great call out.
That was really good.
He's so quick with stuff.
You don't want, this kid did he have any idea when he went down to that microphone that he was just going to get lambasted? Do you think he actually thought like, I've got it?
I think a lot of these kids do. They really think that, I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him.
And then it's like
then they'll be at the champion of the left movement.
Yeah, it's about winning the oppression Olympics.
Yeah. They'll go into a classroom and they'll, that's a great job.
You really gave, and they will. You really gave it to him.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You made him look
gave
like
Charlie the smackdown.
Yeah.
You made him look like a fool.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
When meanwhile, it's like he just sits back and common sense, just common sense wins every time.
Yep.
Did you report that to the campus police? Well, why not?
That was a question that he wasn't. expecting.
He was not prepared for that. He wanted the argument instead of flipping it back on him because what did Jesus do?
Charlie was serious. I know full well that Charlie was like, I will absolutely report this to this.
Yeah,
he would do it.
You know what? He might do it. He knew he didn't have to.
Yeah.
The minute Sally opened her mouth here, he knew he didn't have to. He knew that he was safe with this argument, that he wasn't going to have to lift a finger or make a phone call.
Nope.
Yeah.
This kid came out with an agenda, and he just got played.
Yep.
And it's real simple. In front of 2,000 people, he's the kid that gets to go on the internet, and his parents, who are paying for him to go to college now, get to watch this and go, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? I didn't raise you to be no dummy, you know, but here he is. So it's, yeah. Well, I got to be, yeah. This makes me angry.
Yeah, really.
The reason I didn't want you to play the abortion one, was because that one today I was just so fired up on that, and that's a whole nother.
That's a 2
for
hour.
a different. Yeah, man.
We get you fired up, you'll go.
I can't.
I know
do it.
you're
I
like
can't
the
do it.
Energizer Bunny. Once you get going, it's on. So, ooh, well, what a show.
Well, we didn't have a whole lot to talk about tonight. I hate
You,
that.
you really did blow my mind though with that video.
Oh, the pyramid.
2 miles
I had
deep.
no idea
I'm
you were
still
going to drop that on
I'm
us.
still stutter stepping on this one.
You gotta.
I mean,
you gotta keep it live, man.
I lost my breath.
Yeah, it's crazy. I honestly, I watched it about 20 minutes before the show, and I thought, oh my gosh, it just came out today. The video did, and I put it in here because I thought that could really be an interesting point of conversation. And good gracious,
I'm surprised I didn't see that somewhere.
I mean, I just
my X feed runs deep, gentlemen.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of stuff going on.
You know, I worked with a guy today that was asking me questions about like how do we come up with content? What do you guys do to come up with content? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'll tune in because I say, you know, we have a loose text thread that goes throughout the week. And then I said, you know, Jared, who's like our producer, is just like, he's Johnny on the spot with pulling stuff up. And we just talk about whatever comes up.
Yep.
We read it and then we talk about it.
Yep.
And I said, it's a lot of fun. Like, we
yeah.
just have a lot of fun with it until tonight. Like, it was great. It's just going great. We've been doing this for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Tonight was like, you know, I want to quit. I mean, that was such a dump in just like, you took my breath away. 2 miles they dug.
Did you hear about the pyramids? Bam.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys want to see something funny?
blow up
Watch
what
this. You know, watch these two lose their absolute minds.
Now, what's wild is first thing that pops up on my X when I opened it.
Yeah.
Pyramid video.
Video.
Really?
Yep.
So it's going now.
Is that no?
Yeah.
It's either going wild or your phone is definitely listening to you.
Well, yeah, the phone does listen.
Was it in X?
Oh yeah. Look.
Oh, there you go.
Unbelievable.
Well, I guess there's worse people to listen to you than Elon's minions.
Yeah, right. He's already got your bank account. Don't worry about it. He's already got your social, everything. He can have what your phone's saying too.
Yep.
I mean,
tomorrow you'll have a Tesla truck on your credit card.
Yeah,
Cybertruck. It's not a Tesla truck.
Yeah, one that's been keyed.
Yes.
Wow. Refurbished. Yeah, this was keyed.
Although I will say, Grok is now the best AI. I love X first off. But
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Grok as an AI, if you want to pay a little bit of money every month for a really good AI system, it's pretty legit. It's not terribly expensive.
What's not terribly expensive?
I think it's like $8 a month or something.
Oh, that's not terribly
That's
expensive.
not bad. Could have used that in college.
What's that?
Could have used that in college.
Yeah, I
buddy.
use AI so much anymore, and I'm just looking for the best one. ChatGPT was my go-to, but
See, it's funny on my X when the first thing that pops up is something about Reacher. So it's just we are so different, aren't we?
While you'll go home and watch Reacher, I'll sit and be going through the JFK files probably.
Yeah, all
Actually, no, I gotta go to
800,000
bed early
pages.
tonight, so.
So anyway, it is 10:39. Thanks for sticking it out with us tonight and having your mind blown about pyramids and all the other things. We appreciate you tuning in. And next week, if you guys have anything you would like to ask us questions about or anything like that,
comment on our videos.
Yes.
That's fine.
we
Even if
appreciate-
you don't agree with us.
Oh, especially if you don't agree.
I mean, we'll
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No.
That's public discourse.
That's exactly
and we're appreciative too of the folks that were commenting during the B. Davis. Thanks for all the comments that you dropped us. We really appreciate it. That's a return guest, and we appreciate the return.
Hey,
guest.
did we
Love him.
the Canadian?
I haven't.
Did we make him angry?
I don't know. He didn't. I don't think he came back.
He'll be back. They all come
I
back.
don't think that was. No, that wasn't B. Davis.
There's a little tension with the U.S. and Canada right now. So
Yeah, there's a little bit. But if anybody knows who that person, he was very active. Like during our simulcast.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he was all over it.
Great conversation.
So yeah, and that's the kind of stuff we want. That kind of discourse. We'll answer. Like we'll talk right at you. We ain't afraid to do it because we are braver than the rest. Until next week, keep your eyes on the prize, who is our returning King, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. If you don't know him, I will tell you it is as simple as believing. You start there, that there was a God that loved you so much that he sent his son, Jesus, to die for you. And that Jesus died willingly on a cross, the most brutal death. The Romans knew how to do it when they crucified him. Their crucifixion was the most brutal way to die in the history of humanity. And Jesus chose to do it for us.
Yep.
And the Bible tells us that if you believe in him, that you are forgiven. And so we just encourage you to find people that believe, associate with those people, learn more about him, get involved in your church, a local church, and make sure they're a Bible-believing church, not a Bible and believing church. But yeah, I think it's really important. Next week, I do want to touch on something that I heard John Eldridge say today. Or yesterday, I was sharing it with my wife, and that is about our programming in our brain. And we were never intended to know all the things that we know.
No.
That we only have the capacity for a community of about 150 people to know. And right now, we know everything from Syria to Tanzania to, because it's global. And I think that's really one of the reasons why it's just heavy. Be a lot lighter if we knew what was happening in Bristol only.
Yep.
Yep. So, but yeah, till next week, keep your eye on the prize. Our King is returning. We're braver than the rest. Have a great week.